Okay, so maybe you're one of those people, the type dreaming of a career working with marine life.
Always love the ocean, all right.
Totally. But, and here's the thing, forget about flipper or, even free willy.
Not just looking for a splash in the kiddie pool.
Exactly. This is about diving into a hands-on role, maybe even getting, I don't know, a little seaweed stuck in your hair.
Now, that's the spirit. And it's actually perfect timing because aquaculture, basically farming the ocean,
Right.
it's becoming like seriously crucial for how do we feed this growing planet.
Mhm.
Sustainable seafood, that's the ticket, and that's where our friend, the aquaculture cage technician, swims in.
Frontline heroes of what, fish farming?
You got it.
I love it. And lucky for us, RoleCatcher, they give us this crazy detailed breakdown of this whole job. It's like they took all those like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Quizzes
Yeah, right.
and actually made them useful.
Totally. Their guide really gets into each stage of the career path, from literally what you do every day to like the skills you need. One thing that pops out, though, is a real mix of, brawn and brains. It's not all just hanging with the fishes.
Mm.
You need tech skills, data analysis, even some serious problem solving.
Okay, now you've got me curious, like really curious. What does an aquaculture cage technician actually do all day? Is it all like scuba gear and singing to seahorses?
Okay, picture this. You're out on the open water, maybe on a platform, right?
Right.
Surrounded by these massive cages.
Away.
Inside, fish or shellfish. Depends on the whole operation. But your job, it's all about keeping those little dudes, or I guess not so little, happy, healthy, and, well, edible.
Okay, so less aerial, more like a high-tech fish whisperer.
Exactly. Imagine you're monitoring water quality, but we're not just like dipping our toes in here. You're using sensors, and get this, data analysis to track stuff like dissolved oxygen levels, ammonia, even the pH. It's all about maintaining this like perfect little mini ecosystem in there.
That is so much more scientific than what I pictured. Wow. So no, just tossing out like fish flakes and calling it a day.
No, definitely not. You're implementing feeding strategies like based on the type of fish, how old they are, the water conditions, the whole thing.
Mm.
Plus, you got to be able to spot like if they're getting sick or something.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then you have to address it. Means really knowing about, fish health.
So it's like being a farmer, a scientist, and a fish doctor, all rolled into one.
Pretty much.
Sign me up!
Stop.
Though maybe not for the fish doctor part. Not a fan of needles, even for our finned friends.
Well, there's some seriously cool equipment involved, though. That might be right up your alley. We're talking water treatment systems, fish grading tools, which is a whole other thing.
What is that?
Oh, it's how they sort the fish, But size, quality,
Yeah.
and yeah, even diving equipment for some of the work.
Okay, now you're talking. I've always wanted to try, like scuba diving and all that. Though maybe I'll leave the actual fish wrangling to the pros. So, speaking of pros, what is the work environment really like? Day to day, I mean.
Well, it's mostly outdoors, like right on or near the water. So, got to be cool with the elements, sunshine, rain, wind, all that jazz. Mother Nature's calling the shots out there.
Right, that makes sense. What about the hours, though? Are we talking like a 9 to 5, or is it more title?
That's where it gets, well, interesting. RoleCatcher says the hours can be all over the place. Weekends, holidays sometimes. Fish, they kind of do their own thing, don't really follow a Monday through Friday.
That's true, those lucky fish. I bet they don't get paid overtime either, but that's a deep dive for another day. But seriously, irregular hours in a totally unique environment. That's something to think about.
For sure. And RoleCatcher even mentioned that some of these jobs, they can be in pretty remote spots, like coastal communities, islands, even, places like that.
So you could be treating your morning commute for a boat ride. That's kind of a perk, honestly.
Could be. Depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the peace and quiet, those incredible views.
Hmm.
But then again, maybe not so much access to, restaurants or going out.
Right. It's a trade-off.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, this all sounds, honestly, kind of amazing, but maybe a little intense. How do you know if this whole career path is the right fit? Like for someone listening right now.
That's where RoleCatcher, they really nail it with this guide. It lays out all the pros and cons, helps you, actually weigh your options.
No sugarcoating here, huh? Just the facts. Okay, so hit me with the good stuff. Why should someone, really think about this? Becoming an aquaculture cage technician, what's the upside?
Well, first off, you're working right there, hands-on with marine life.
True.
Which, let's be honest, is a dream for a lot of people. It's
Yeah.
hands-on, engaging. It's about as far from a boring desk job as you can get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a plus. Especially for those of us who, like, can't tell a spreadsheet from a sea cucumber.
Exactly. And here's the real kicker. You're not just working with nature, you're kind of helping it out too. Traditional fishing, it's got its problems, right?
Right.
Imagine, like, trying to feed a whole city using only backyard gardens.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's just not sustainable. Aquaculture, though, this is a way to make, like, really good seafood, but in a controlled way. Environmentally friendly, the whole deal.
So you're saying I could be, like, saving the oceans and also enjoying my tasty seafood dinner without the guilt.
That's the idea.
Okay, that's a win-win for sure. But let's be real, there's gotta be downsides, right? RoleCatcher doesn't shy away from those, do they?
No way. They're upfront about it all.
Yeah.
The physical part of the job, the crazy hours sometimes, even you might be kind of isolated if you're in a remote location. It's all there.
Yeah, it's easy to romanticize working on the water, but it's not for everyone. Anything specific stand out to you, like in terms of challenges?
One thing was you got to be able to adapt, like really be a problem solver. The ocean, it's unpredictable.
Right.
Weather changes, your equipment could go haywire, even the fish themselves. Who knows what's going to happen? You got to think on your feet.
Talk about being thrown in the deep end,
Yeah.
literally. Okay, so let's say someone's listening to us and, like, they're hooked. They're ready to trade in the office for some, I don't know, some waiters.
Love it.
What's step one? How do you even begin to become an aquaculture cage technician?
Well, RoleCatcher, they're big on the whole, like, getting your hands dirty thing. They say internships at aquaculture places, volunteering, anything to give you, real life experience.
And right in, huh?
Exactly.
Pun intended. But okay, what about like actual school? Any degrees that'll give someone a leg up?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Aquaculture engineering, marine biology, even something broader like environmental science, that'd be a solid base.
Wow, I had no clue. There are so many like specialized things you could study for this.
Okay.
Clearly, this whole industry, it's clear. So, okay, our future technician, they've put in the time, got some experience, maybe even a degree. What's next? What's the career ladder look like?
RoleCatcher actually maps it out really well. You usually start as a trainee,
Okay.
so you're working alongside the more experienced folks,
Yeah.
and then you go to technician, senior technician, and then, hey, maybe even aquaculture cage manager someday. Look at you climbing that ladder.
Yeah.
But, like, what do those different levels actually mean? Like, what do you actually do, and what skills do you get as you move up?
Right. So, trainee, it's all about learning the ropes. You're helping out, watching the water quality, figuring out all the equipment.
Earning those sea legs.
Exactly. And then you get to technician, you've got more freedom. RoleCatcher, they say a technician, this is someone who can run those cages pretty much solo.
Wow.
You're checking the environment, doing the feeding strategies we talked about, even spotting if any fish are getting sick. It's like that farmer-scientist-vet combo all over again, but like way bigger scale now.
For sure. Then, as you get even better at it, you could be a senior technician. And that's where leadership starts to matter more.
So you're not just like in charge of the fish anymore, but also kind of leading other people too.
Right. You might be training new people, coming up with like the rule book for how things run, making sure the whole operation's smooth sailing.
And finally, we've reached the top. Cage manager. What's that like?
RoleCatcher makes it sound like you're running the show. You're managing money, figuring out how to make more fish in a sustainable way, working with all the other companies, the suppliers, the buyers, like your own little underwater empire.
That is amazing. Clearly, there's a lot of room to grow here, take on more responsibility, and honestly make a real difference. But let's be real, even with like the best resume, finding the right job, that's tough. How does RoleCatcher help with that whole process? It's almost like they're like a career coach, but in your pocket.
Totally.
Because it goes way beyond just the info about the job.
Oh, yeah. They've got all these tools to actually help you land that job.
Land the job, yep.
Aquaculture Cage Technician. Here I come. So first off, I hear they've got this. Get this. CV and resume builder.
It's kind of amazing, actually.
Okay, tell me more.
It's not just like those generic templates,
Right.
It uses like AI to help you make it perfect for each job.
Whoa, so it's like having a professional resume writer, but like on call 24/7? Man, I could use that for my first summer job.
Right.
Although I'm not sure even AI could have made worm scoopers sound impressive.
Maybe not. But for something like this, aquaculture, so specific, it's like a game changer,
Oh, totally. And it's not just about looking fancy, right? It's about actually getting past those like robot screeners.
Oh, you mean the applicant tracking systems?
Yes, those things.
Brutal.
The worst.
Yeah.
This helps with that. Big time.
It's like a secret weapon for your job hunt. Speaking of, there's that RoleCatcher browser plugin.
Oh yeah, the RoleCatcher.capture.
Yes. That seems like a huge time saver. Tell me more about it.
Okay, so say you're on like LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever, any job site. You see something, you're like, ooh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Normally, bookmark.
Yeah.
Right. And then who knows, you forget about it probably.
Every single time.
Right. But with this thing, one click, boom, saved to your RoleCatcher account.
That's so smart. Honestly, the number of times I've bookmarked a job and then it's like lost forever in the internet void.
Gone. But this way, it's all organized. You can prioritize. You can even see like how your skills match up to what they're looking for.
It's like they thought of everything.
Yeah.
So from actually understanding the job to the resume to making the application easier, it really does seem like the whole package.
It is. RoleCatcher, they're really about helping people find a career they'll love. And they make this whole aquaculture path way less mysterious, you know?
Totally. It's been honestly eye-opening. I mean, who knew that like farming the ocean could be so high-tech, so important for the planet, and honestly, so cool.
Right. It's kind of a hidden gem career.
Yeah.
And what gets me most is the impact, you know? We need to find ways to make more food, but sustainably, and these aquaculture cage technicians, they're going to be in high demand.
Yeah, it's a chance to be at the forefront of this whole thing that's just growing like crazy. To work with, let's face it, some pretty awesome creatures, and to know that you're like part of making the planet healthier.
All while enjoying some pretty great seafood.
Exactly. So, listeners, if you've ever felt that pull towards the ocean, if you want a job that's challenging but also like really rewarding, maybe it's time for a deep dive
A real one this time.
into the world of aquaculture. You might just find what you're meant to do.